I went over the book that I have that that I was given, that was kind of thrust on me when I was at the International Tesla Symposium, the Indra, Girt by Maruts book by Zeigler. Jerry was chasing me around at the symposium, and he insisted that I have a copy of this book that he wrote that deals with the sunspot cycle, that deals with the energetic cycles that our sun goes through, and the nature of that in the Vedas. And so he had proposed an alternative interpretation, and I was just blown away to find in this book that Sri Aurobindo had written. It's called The Secrets of the Vedas. The secret of the Vedas. And in this book, I mean, when I first opened a translation of the Aurobindo, something very strange happened. I'm like, oh, this is a terrible translation. This is terrible. How could this be? And when I follow that intuition, when I think about that intuition, I don't know where it comes from. It's almost like I'd somehow read it. I don't read Sanskrit. I don't know Sanskrit. But somehow I knew that the translation that I was reading just wasn't right. And so there's this sort of innate resonance, which is the reason that I had the book in the first place, I guess, when I were drawn to it in the first place. That isn't something that is learned, not in this lifetime. That isn't something that has any type of obvious source. And so, but if I follow that, if I listen to that, I find that it allows me to think in ways that are, well, some people would say supernatural, but Sri Aurobindo put a name on it. He calls it supramental, or he calls it the Supermind, and he has a theory for this type of consciousness and what how it relates and how it evolves. And his theory is that well, it's quite a fascinating theory. If you read his biography on Wikipedia, it's really fascinating. And I'll put a link for another page that is on the supramental state. And I think I've found. I mean, this is really just kind of a life-changing experience for me, because I feel like I found someone that understood the Vedas, that is relatively contemporary. He's been dead for many years, but he had quite a following, and at one time he had ashrams all over the world, and I don't know how many of them are still open or what their functioning is. I just found out about him 2 days ago, but to find this connection with someone that I think understood the Vedas. I've read several translations of the Rig Veda and the Harva Veda, and it seems like Hinduism degenerated. I'm not disrespecting Hinduism. I think it's amazing, and I love the culture and mythology of Hinduism. But the concept of worshiping the cow, and the concept of what the cow is in the Vedas, in the Rig Veda, is very, very different than what the concept of the cow is in Hinduism. And that the passages, the word cow was a homonym. It was a word that had more than one meaning. And it was describing some activity about the sun. And the cow in the Vedas, as it refers to the sun, is the sunspot. It's the spot on the sun. And the reason they chose the word cow is because if you're a farmer in a pasture land and you see a bunch of cows on a field, they kind of migrate across the field. And that was the metaphor for the sunspot. You see this huge sun rising on the sunset, and there's this spot on it. And then every day that spot just kind of moves across the face of the sun, or just kind of migrates. And so they use the word cow to describe the sunspot. Now the deep irony of this is that in that day, in that age, it wasn't a juvenile understanding. It wasn't a primitive understanding. It was a profound understanding that the people that wrote the Rig Veda seem to have possessed about the very nature of the sun, about the very nature of the relationship between the sun and the earth, between the sun and the weather, the storms, the lightning, the aberrant lights that some of which we haven't seen in centuries. And these people were not primitive in the sense that we think of them. They had a very, very advanced understanding of what the heavens were and what the sun and the energy from the sun was and its source. And so, you know, as a direction for me personally, this is really, obviously I'm very passionate about this. This has really affected me, and it's kind of empowering, but at the same time, when I found the book, I actually became physically ill for a while, and it didn't last very long, but it's kind of left an impression on me, and I don't know exactly what effect it's going to have on me in the long term. The gurus like Sri Aurobindo have a lot of effect on people, and they continue. I mean, after their physical existence, they continue to affect people, and so I'm not sure how this is going to change the course that I'm on right now. It's just too early to see. And so, but I wanted to catch everybody up on where I've been and say hello again. And if you have had similar experiences, or if you want to discuss this, it would be really great to have more of a network or build camaraderie among people who are interested in these kinds of things. And so I noticed that my demographics are not what I had thought they would be. YouTube just produced a new way for channel operators to look at the age and the sex of people that are watching the channel's videos. And I noticed that my 18 to 25 group, which I thought would be the biggest group, since that's the biggest number of people that are here on YouTube right now, is actually very low. It's less than 10% of my subscribers, and that's how that's who I thought I was kind of talking to. And so I'm gonna shift the dialogue. I'm going to try to start. Speaking to that age group more. And I noticed that in my subscription list, I went through my subscribers, and there are very few people that identify to be 45 to 55 in my subscriber list. And so that means you're coming in from outside and you haven't subscribed to the channel, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But I really am looking for networking and camaraderie. I'm not here just to criticize and coach the younger groups. And you know, at some point I'm going to need support too, especially with something like this. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with Sri Aurobindo or not, and his other work. I understand from my research so far on him that he was rather influential, and it would be great to get some conversation going about these kinds of topics among people that are interested in the expanding consciousness and the nature of consciousness and the supermind and the spirit. And so thanks for listening, and if you have any comments or questions, you know, I'd be more than happy to field them. Thanks. Bye.